Hey guys, it's your girl Samantha with the Black Nation News, and today I wanted to talk about this interview that I just watched on the African Diaspora News channel with Phillip Scott. He's the host and the owner of this channel, and he was doing an interview with a Dr. Aruna Khilanani on the psychiatry of white supremacy, divide and conquer tactics, and final solution to racism. And I wanted to have you guys hear some of this interview just because I know like black people may be saying this already, what she's about to say, but it always feels great hearing it from someone who's not black, just because if you hear from another black person, a lot of people are like, oh, you're just a hater, you're jealous of white people, you are racist, even though we know black people cannot be racist in this current system, social system that we're living in, or but yeah, so people will deflect very easily if it's a black person saying something about white people, because it's obvious that I would say I honestly believe the majority of black people do not like white people for good reason. So it really does help to hear from someone who's not black say some of the things that she's about to say, and also the fact that she is a psychologist. I'm not sure exactly what degree she has, but the fact that she has a doctor in front of her title, like for her title or in front of her name, that means that she most likely has a doctorate degree in psychology. So that speaks to me, because I actually used to be a psych major. I was kind of thinking about becoming a psychologist back in the days, and so I love psychology because you really get to get into the minds of people and like really understand the inner workings of people, and just go a lot deeper in analyzing how their mind works versus just looking at things from like on the surface. So I want you guys to listen to this part of the interview, and then I'll come back to explain why this part of the interview was just so important to me and spoke so much to me, and why I felt like it was really important for my subscribers and future subscribers and anyone else who finds this video to hear this message. So 1 second, here we go.
And kind of treating us like we, just to be stepped on. We good. We gonna just, y'all handle them. And usually it don't end up too well when we do that.
When you do what exactly?
When we're stepping back and just looking out for our own group per se, and then you let other people come to this country, don't realize the country they came into. We've been trying to tell everybody that's come in here, listen, you entering white supremacy. You're not entering this utopia that they told you overseas, that America is just this, oh my God, it's this land of milk and honey. Oh no.
But I think
I
think your observation is accurate, though. I think that is actually the goal of supremacy, is to get everybody to internalize that idea. That white people are at the top of the food chain and black people are at the bottom of the food chain, and you are less than. To buy into that.
Well, I hope that's not I'm gonna say this much. That's a bad decision if you make that coming into America. I'm gonna let you know, we know these people like the back of our hand. Now let me ask you another question here.
Sure.
Do you believe, based off of what you know, the psychology of the white supremacists, do you believe they ever want to even get along with I'm gonna say black Americans, because that's most of the fight, black America, and what the white supremacists are doing? Do they actually want to get along, or do you believe black Americans should just kind of go their own way, separate, or whatever else that we choose to do?
When you say white supremacists, who are you talking about specifically?
Anyone that believes in white supremacy, that believes in the domination and control of all things, government, military, anything of power, dominated by white people, controlled by white people, and everyone's subjugated to white people. That's what I mean by white supremacists. White supremacists is just not a Ku Klux Klan. White supremacists. Okay, January the 6th showed you white supremacists.
I think that I would say that I think most people on some level have adopted, and I think most white people have not consciously but unconsciously adopted white supremacy. And if I feel like what would be helpful for Black America, and I've said the same thing to Indian Americans, is to like literally I think you're going to get sick the longer you are around whiteness. It's going to affect your body. It is going to affect your mind. It's going to affect your soul. Like, I think it's better to go out and start your own stuff, start your own businesses, make it the way that you want to be. Like, show everything through leadership so that you actually have your own things and don't feel like you actually have to be dependent on a particular system or an institution. And I think that I feel like I get a lot of pushback with this, but I think that this sickness is actually everywhere. It's in law, it's in medicine, it's in corporate America, and people always think that they can handle it without seeing the enormous psychological toll it actually takes on a human being. You know?
So I'm going to stop right there for this talking point. This was huge for me to hear this, because I've been saying for a while that I believe that Black Americans should just separate from white people. That we should get a few states and buy up some land and build our own nation within a nation. And my sister actually, I would love to have her on this channel. We're probably going to do a collab at some point soon in the future, like, because we have these conversations all the time on the phone, and we talk about, coming on to YouTube and putting it out to the public, like the things we talk, the discussions we have. And my sister was actually really brilliant, and the way she brought up how when the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all those documents were signed, we were still enslaved. So not only were we not, Black Americans were not even in the room to agree to these laws and everything that they were writing up. We didn't sign anything, but we were enslaved. So we couldn't have been really a thought when they were coming up with all these laws and stuff. So now it's like, why are we being held to these laws and things that we never agreed to? You don't sign, if you don't sign a contract, you can't say that I have to do these things and follow your rules and your laws and be like, confined to your system of white supremacy, like this BS system that you've come up with, or this BS project, which is America, that's failing or has failed. So when she said that, my sister really surprised me, because I know I'm very outspoken. I'm way more of an activist. So it really kind of surprised me, like, how spot on she was, how in tune she was, as far as, like, we just need to separate from white people. And the reason why this also spoke to me on so many levels is because I left corporate America in January 2017 because of racism and sexism. And I felt like I was dying inside. Like, I had tried to assimilate and exist or coexist with whitey in their world, and I was flailing about. I was struggling. By the time it was all said and done, I had depression, a major depressive disorder, anxiety, like major anxiety. I was having like a twitching going on of my like left eye. I was overweight. Probably wasn't sleeping too well. I had a drinking problem. Like, you name it, it was happening. I was in really bad shape, mentally and physically. And they actually laid me off. So it wasn't even like I even left on my own terms. Like, I actually got quote unquote laid off, which really I got fired because I was raising hell, because I was going insane. Like, the more I was there, the more crazy I was becoming, because they were just always trying to find something wrong with me. Like, everything I did, it was like a problem, and they never showed any appreciation for my hard work. They never gave any recognition to my hard work. We actually had this thing called kudos that we would give at our meetings that we had like once a week, I think. And I never got any kudos. So I would just have to sit there and listen to everybody else who wasn't Black give kudos to other people, and it was really like a pat on the back for like a job well done this week, or on some project we worked on, blah 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 blah. And I would just be like there. So it's like, not only am I not getting any recognition, but I'm like basically having to sit here and watch everybody else get these kudos and these rewards or whatever, and these pats on the back for their hard work, and I'm basically just being dismissed and treated like I am not contributing at all, when in reality my job was really hard, and I had given it my all just the entire freaking time, from the time I left the military, actually from the time I went into the military up to that point. So it was 2 decades of hell, basically. And I left, and I have never looked back. Like, I don't want any parts of it. I completely severed ties with that industry. I had to walk away from everything I had worked for so hard for. I had an MBA, certifications, clearance, you name it. I had it. Whatever was needed to succeed and excel in that field, I had it. I had more credentials than most people at the job. Even the supervisors and the people that like outranked me or were at higher level, and it still wasn't good enough because I was a black woman. I was never going to fit in their home because I wasn't their family. I wasn't white, and no matter what I tried to do, I was never going to be a white woman or a white man. And it's like the only person I can be is Samantha, be a black woman. That's it, and that's the only person at the end of the day who I want to be. So she mentioned, Dr. Aruna Khilanani said something in the beginning of this video. I'm not going to play the whole video because I don't want to be like plagiarism or whatever, like I'm just taking his whole video or something. But she said something early in the video where she was saying how white supremacists, like white racist people, would say things like, if you say stuff, they'll talk about your tone and things like that. If you're saying something they don't really like, even if it's true, they will bring it back on you. They do a lot of gaslighting. They are narcissists. That's just the reality of it. Like, that's something I've realized recently as well. They are textbook narcissists. White people do not want to take any accountability for their bullshit. They gaslight you till the cows come home. It's just, you will think you are the problem, and you will slowly go insane the longer you stay around these narcissistic cave-dwelling creatures. There is no other way to put it. And so since I left corporate America, I have not been apologetic about it. I moved to Baltimore, where it was predominantly black. I left my predominantly white area that I was living in Virginia, and moved to Baltimore, Maryland. And then when I left Baltimore, Maryland, I refused to go back to Virginia. So I'm still in a predominantly black area, loving it. I'm thrilled. My son is going to be going to a school this year, just predominantly black. All the black kids you could think of, all the black teachers you can dream of. I think our mayor is black. It just black. I love it. I love every bit of it. I work for myself now, so I can dictate like who I will be working around. I don't have to be in an office for 9 hours. I was actually like in the office like 9 hours out of the day around non-black people who couldn't stand me just because of the color of my skin, and I couldn't stand their ass because I knew they didn't like me, and I didn't like the way they were treating me. And I've started buying land. I own 21 and a half acres right now of land. So I'm slowly but surely doing what I feel like all black people should do. I don't really have time to wait for other black people to catch up, just because, like I said, I was mentally and physically dying. Like, I was rotting to the core the longer I had to be around that species of people, that just the palm colored people, alabaster people, cave dwelling people, like the people that they're not my kin. So they don't look like me. They don't act like me. They are not me and my people. So I didn't have a choice. And it's like ever since I left corporate America behind in 2017, fast forward 2021, I mean, pretty much every move I've made was to separate myself from white people. And it wasn't even like something I consciously was doing. I just knew subconsciously, the further away I get from them, the more I separate from them, the better I feel, the healthier I feel, the happier I am. Even my children were like, Mom, ever since you left corporate America, you were like so much happier. You're in better spirits. You're not yelling at us like you used to, or just getting angry so fast. And disciplining us so much because your temper is short because of like all this stuff, all the pressure you're under. And she mentioned something else, Dr. Khilanani, about black people, like when they are in the workplace, how the way the white supremacist treats you, you do psychologically become extremely disturbed because you get this air of like, I need to be perfect, and no one is perfect. And you also have this like pressure of, I'm representing all black people, and that's too much for anyone to have to carry around on their shoulders. That's too much of a burden to. And I remember like my last job that I had, this one female, I think she was biracial, I don't know what the hell she was, but she wasn't my people. But anyways, she was like, you need to know our job and your job. Like that's what they expected me to know. And they were my customer, so you want to keep your customers happy. But she was basically saying like, I needed to know her job, which was government contracting, extremely difficult job. They don't even know their own job, so how the fuck am I supposed to know your job? And I was supposed to know my job, which was IT. And I'm just like, that is so unrealistic and just so incredibly sadistic to put that on somebody, to put that onus on someone who isn't even making the amount of money that person, she made more than me. So I'm like, why the fuck would I need to know your job and my job? You need to know your job. And I need to know my job. So how about you stop breaking shit because you don't know your job, and things would be smoother for everybody. But it's like I was supposed to sit here and try to keep her happy so that I won't get fired because I'm not making the customer happy. And again, that was too much pressure on me. It's too much pressure. How the hell I'm supposed to know my job, which was already complex and stressful and hard as it was, and she wasn't my only customer. I was over like 100-some people that I had to like help. So it's like I'm supposed to know all y'all's issues and all the shit y'all are doing, and then know all your jobs, and then I need to still know mine as well. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. And then eventually you will start to suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because you're stressed out, and it's traumatizing to be in an environment that basically is constantly saying you're not good enough. You are not good enough. I don't care what degrees you have, what certifications you have, how much training you have, how much on-the-job experience you have, how much you've served this country so that I can be an asshole to you and have the freedom of speech to say whatever the hell I want to say to you that's evil. It didn't matter what you had going, clearances, whatever. Like, oh, you have a perfect, clean, squeaky clean background. It did not matter. Like, no matter what I had, it was never going to be good enough because I was not the right color. Like, even if I was white and I was a female, I would have gotten a better reception to that position than I did being a black woman. You know, I mean, it's almost like the time I walked in the door, it was just like, boom, we are going to start attacking you immediately. We don't know you. We don't know your background. We don't know your knowledge of anything. They immediately were doubting me because I was not a white male, because I was not white. And I remember like getting in trouble for things that were just silly, you know, things that I used to get in trouble for, things that other people didn't get in trouble for. I was told I couldn't do things that other people were allowed to do, and that was constant. And then even after I filed a complaint, they came back and said that twice, not once, the HR and then the EO of that county, the Equal Opportunity Office of that county, they both came back and said they did not find any discrimination. So you want to talk about traumatically stressed out and a real PTSD disorder happening there? Like, yeah. Because I'm like, so I imagined all that shit? Like, it's just like, am I crazy? Like, you really do start to go off your rocker. Like, you really start to think you're crazy. And that was when I knew when they laid me off, I'm not going back. I refuse to go back and be sick and just continue to have this sickness in me the longer I stay around these creatures that are just, they're not human. You know, the things they're doing is not humane. It's not normal to hate a group of people that much who's done nothing to them. It's just disgusting. So I'm going to see if the rest of this video has any talking points that I wanted to talk about, but that was like the main one I wanted to really highlight, was when she spoke of us African Americans separating people. I think the next point she's going to bring up is something else I wanted to like elaborate on, and then I'll be like wrapping this video up. So let me go ahead and play this video now.
Always getting called in. I mean, I can think of a lot of Black men I know that are specifically always targeted by HR. They're always getting called in. They haven't done anything, but it's always like, you did something, you must have done this. And they're always trying to get you on something petty. And they will always try to make it seem like it is something else. Now, that is it's not a small way to live. That is like a traumatic way of living, because you're going to always be on edge. It's going to elicit a level of hyper perfectionism in you. You're going to have to feel like you have to do everything perfect, because if you do a tiny thing wrong, sign in late, didn't cross like one T, they're going to come for you, And I think that way of living is actually incredibly hard, painful, that you have to represent all of Black America. I mean, that is too much. So I actually don't think it's psychologically healthy. I think that, you should let in the people who've earned your trust, who have earned your trust. And like, that's it. Like, other people who haven't earned your trust, like, it's not your job. I feel like as Black America, and people are getting killed every single day. Black men are getting killed. People feel on edge. It's not your job. Like, why should you be trusting everybody? I think that's like almost a wrong decision. I feel like it is the other way around, that it is everyone else's job, and it's especially white America's job, to earn that trust back. It is their job to earn that trust back. It is not your job, and it's not Black America's job to keep having conversations about race, to try to teach people, to exhaust your energy, to exhaust your supply, to exhaust everything you have to give, to try to get someone else to change. Like, you don't get anything out of that relationship.
Boom. So that was the next talking point. Okay, so this whole part, because the whole interview was great, but this was the meat and potatoes to me. This is what really spoke to me, and what should speak to the African American tribe, our African American community. I tell people this all the time, because I have some people that say, like, it's like, okay, white people are in power, so everyone's afraid of them. And I don't trust white people, period. I don't like them. I don't trust them. And I would have so many people tell me, oh, not all white people are bad, blah, 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 blah. And I would tell them, I would be like, okay, so if you were in the forest or you were in the woods and you saw a snake, like a 15-foot long ass snake coming towards you, would you wait to have a conversation with that snake to see if he's a bad snake or a good snake? Because not all snakes are venomous. Not all snakes have poison. Not all of them will strike and try to harm you. So are you going to have a conversation with the snake first, or are you just going to freaking figure out a way to dip out and run? Are you going to not trust that snake because it's a snake? And when you put it that way, most people understand what you mean now. Because you got to separate yourself out of white supremacy. I know people are brainwashed from school, blah, blah, blah. I'm so over the excuses, because these people have shown us time and time again they can't fucking stand us. I'm tired of giving people the benefit of the doubt when I'm the one that's oppressed. And like Phil has mentioned it in this video, we didn't start racism. White people did. So it's not, and also Alicia Cabrera has said this recently in one of her videos, but it's not Black people's job to end racism. We didn't start it. We didn't create it. And I'd be the first to let people know that. Like, it's not our own, you shouldn't put the onus on yourself or other African Americans to say that we have to end racism. It's not my job to end it. I didn't create it. The people who have the power to end it are the people who started it. So, because they're the ones that's keeping it going. They're the ones teaching their children. They're the ones fighting right now to keep certain things out of history books in schools, because they don't want people to know the truth. They're the ones that's been lying and fucking lying and lying and lying and hiding shit, constantly putting shit under the rug, like Black Wall Street, so people never know what all the fuckery they've done. And if you look in that history just that's been so like it's just been so, as far back as I know, I don't know a time in history ever where we were in the presence of white people and it was a good thing. How far back was that? I mean, how far back do you have to go? And even when we thought it was a good thing, they were playing us. They were playing us for fools. They had their own agenda up their sleeve, and we were trusting and looking silly. And it's like, how many times are we going to trust this snake and give them a chance to strike and bite us and kill us? How many times are we going to do that? Because I know my generation, it's been gotten old. Like, we're not here for that shit. I'm not here for it. I don't want to hear that everybody's not. I don't care. We're not all bad either, but we're still getting murdered by cops who are assuming that we are. You know, we're still being treated like crap by everybody in the country because everyone's just assuming that we're bad, that African Americans are bad people. So I don't want to hear that bullshit. Like, miss me with the BS about, oh, all cops aren't bad, all white people. I don't care. I don't care. It is not my job to trust you. It is your job to regain my trust, or to gain my trust. I never gave them my trust to begin with. But you know, if I'm saying as a whole, it's your job to make me trust you. And speaking of that, I was really bothered by the comments. I saw a lot of black guys, or I'm assuming they're black guys, so I'm like, I don't know who else would be watching this channel, but except black men and black women. But I just saw a lot of black guys really having that thirst. Okay, so we have King of Hearts here talking about Dravidians and Tamils are direct descendants of East Africans. Okay. Like, why are we so thirsty? Let me see here. I was just looking, I'm like, what? I don't know why I didn't expect people to be like, I thought we had a more woke audience, but we just have too much love of whiteness. Too much love of whiteness. Let's see here. Let me see. This is another thing that bothered me. I kept seeing people saying she needs protection. She needs protection. We need to protect her. We need to protect our own people. We can't even protect ourselves. So we don't need to worry about protecting her. She's protected. She's got her own race of people behind her. She's good. Her men are building shit and they're doing things. She does not need us. So we just be so quick to kiss some ass and run up under somebody that is not black. This got to my some love this, whatever. So Neanderthal Jacobs, don't know what he's doing. Let me see here. This guy, she's actually a very beautiful Indian woman as well, inside and out. Peace and love, black family. P.S. I'm gonna do more research on this very peaceful lady. I don't know if he's black or not. Or what is Neanderthal Jacobs? I don't know what that is. Let me see here. This person's talking crazy. It's like, they have our trust. I wrote this. What did someone say under me? Oh, man. Oh, somebody liked it. I thought somebody said something. Let's see. Someone said, loved her since she burst onto the scene. God bless her. Like something that, yeah, it was great. She gave a lot of great points. I think I was more just disturbed by people who were falling in love and looking crazy. I'm like, we have enough fucking problems. We've got enough issues. Like this guy here, love her. Sit down. Please stop getting excited. Oh yeah, T Love Jones. I'm getting distracted by this woman's beauty. Here we go. So many sellouts. Here he says, should I call you a sellout for only being able to speak English instead of your native African tongue? Admiring other cultures, beauty doesn't make a person sell out. It just makes me a heterosexual man. Sell out. Alright, so love this woman. So I was like, it's just a lot of black males thinking with their small head instead of their big head. And then we got some people who totally lost the point. And people close to pale skin being the next level. Yeah, I like the non-white term as well. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, people of color, I hate that term. We got this guy here getting lost. I can see why black and Indian mixed babies are born. God damn. Okay. So that's what he got from all of this. Okay, so let me continue playing the video. And just see if there's anything else I want to discuss really quickly.
Nothing. Like zero. Go start your own stuff. Like go make a black owned hospital. Go, you know what I mean? Go do it. People are like, I can't. Go do it. I feel like the world would support it. You know, we need this. This is exactly what we need. Make it have the values that you want. Make it have the kind of community that you want. And then like find the people that you find the most annoying that are white and like invite them in. I think this would be the best kind of like leadership. And show them how it's done, because I promise you, one thing I feel like I've seen with white America is they don't know this other way of living. They don't know what it is to have a community. They don't know another way of doing things. And I think that would be kind of like a win-win situation where people can actually build something and have something of your own and create and not feel like you're being drained, exploited, emotionally used, abused, or that you have to put yourself in a position where it's your job to trust someone that I don't actually think that you should be trusting. Like I think the world has shown us, like, if I was a black man, I don't think I would be like being like, oh, I should trust that person. That doesn't seem like the right thing to do, because that could actually get you killed. Like it is in fact a question of life and death. It's not a small matter that you should just be like throwing your trust around everywhere, you know?
Right. Well, you said a lot of things that we normally say here, and you definitely basically just quoted the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and say you just need to separate and build your own. He said that in the 60s. I'm a firm believer of that. But the only thing I disagree with you, one thing you said about inviting them in, let me tell you why you can't invite them in. Psychologically, a lot of black people still have Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. So the moment you inject, white people into certain things, that slaves gene pops up, and then they start, get into slave mode, some people. So I believe that we need a time, like you say, to heal. We need a time to heal. We need a time to do for self. We just need that time, away, because, you cannot be around anyone abusive if you want healing, right?
Yeah. I didn't mean a majority. I meant, and let me know what you think about this. I'm curious. I mean, just a couple. Like, if someone is a minority, they might actually be acting a little bit differently if you had your own company.
Well, let me say this.
Yeah.
In the continent of Africa, from what I've seen, they are more on their P's and Q's because they're outnumbered. So I understand that portion of it. But I would say it's I don't think it's a need. We don't need we need oxygen. That's what we need.
Yeah, you need to be able to
we need family. We don't need nobody else. That's just my opinion. Now, if someone is, like say, I have the belief of Malcolm X, which says that if they would like to help or assist in something, and they are deemed to be good, they can do that, but they cannot lead at all of anything. That's my belief of what Malcolm X said. But inviting them in and say, let's do this, because the problem is the white supremacist mentality is I don't have to listen to black people. I'm the one need to be in control because I know more, even though you may not even have the education, expertise, etc. So this is why I say that we need that time.
I totally get the psychological need for someone to make their own boundaries and heal. That makes sense to me. I feel completely.
Yes.
That I think that to me, I think goes without saying. I probably should have said that first, but I think that to me was sort of like a baseline expectation that you need your own psychological space to like live, breathe, and heal before you want to actually do something extra. I wonder though, if someone wants to come in, that might be someone and if someone wants to help. If someone both wants to help and someone wants to come in to a largely black organization, I wonder if they might be interested in changing. I don't know the answers to these. I'm just kind of putting them out.
Once again, I'll repeat it. If a person say, hey, I just want to help, and they check out and they thoroughly check out. I mean, the people thoroughly check them out, right? And they say that I could be of help for you to get this permit. I could be a help of you to get this, whatever it may be. And they do that. Okay, awesome. Thank you. We greatly appreciate it. And if you further check out, one thing about black people, even though we've been through all the things we've been through, we're not a hateful people. We are a loving people, and we are forgiving people to a fault, to our own fault. Okay? Yeah. So that's not the issue. The issue is that black people have been so dependent on a white system for so long, that we need to know how to do things for self without the assistance of going back to what's familiar to say, okay, white mommy and white daddy, can you do it? You know what I'm saying? We're capable. Okay, right. we built this country off of our backs with slavery. So we're capable, but we just need to make sure to have that time. It doesn't mean you hate nobody. It just means that you just need that time to build up your economy, to build up. And listen, we build up our economy. We build businesses, restaurants, schools, whatever. Hey, anybody is welcome to come in and shop and be a part of something. Great, like anybody else. We're not hateful people, but we just saying that we just need to build up, like I say, our economy, our schools, for instance. Glad we bring up schools. What do you think about the Texas Senate that's recently came out and stated that teachers in Texas don't need to be teaching that the Ku Klux Klan is morally wrong? What is the psychological, thought process behind that?
I think that it's all part of the same thing, that it is eliciting a defensive reaction and that white people's identity is at stake. Their identity as good, helping, because if you say that the Ku Klux Klan is wrong, if you say we've done all these things to Black America, if you talk about slavery in history books, you're going to have to start to feel a lot of negative feelings, and you're going to have to really kind of go inward and look at yourself. And that is uncomfortable, and they don't want to do it. And since they don't want to actually face that, they want to go on being like, we're amazing, everything is amazing, this is amazing, that's amazing, then that's what you have. Like, we're not going to say that this is morally wrong. Because if it is morally wrong, then I'm not as awesome as I think I am. And I think that is ultimate. I'm not a superhero. I don't provide for Black people. I mean, I think that's the thought that people have a lot, is like, I have given you this, I have given you that, I have provided, not that I've taken, not that I've exploited, not that I've abused. It's actually, all of it is the opposite.
So do you believe that, and this is something that I say constantly, and I'm going to ask you this question. I believe white supremacy is a culture, and if you take that culture away from them, they cease to exist. Do you believe that?
That who cease to exist?
Okay, those we know as white people. If you take away white supremacy, take it completely away.
Yeah.
That's because that's something that they created. Racism is something that they created.
Yeah.
We didn't create that. Indians didn't create it.
Right.
Asians didn't create it. Do you believe we take away white supremacy and racism? Do you believe that they're fighting so hard because that's literally like their culture?
Yeah, it's who they are. It's all they are. Like, there's going to be nothingness after that. If you lose this idea of like, oh my God, I've helped Africa. Oh my God, I've helped these people. I've helped that. If you lose that crazy lie, which is a massive delusional system, who are you anymore? You're nothing. Like, you're crumbling. Like in psychiatry, where we call this like a narcissistic decompensation, and that's actually kind of what we're seeing in the country right now. Mm-hmm. Like, they're fighting to hold on to their sense of self, because their sense of self is not real. It's based completely on lies. They will cease to exist.
If you look at the media and the way they talked about you, they described you like a monster. But talking to you, you seem just like...
Okay, so of course he was talking about, because I saw the videos, because I was going to do more research on this doctor, Khilanani, and of course, like, everybody who is not black was just acting like, oh, she's so racist, blah, blah, blah. And of course they're using the term incorrectly, because she cannot be racist against white people. She can probably be prejudiced, if that, but again, white people are the ones who labeled themselves as supreme. They are currently, the ones who've conquered and are on the top. They're the ones who are currently on top of everything right now, so everyone else is underneath them. So racism is a system that you're using to oppress others. It's saying I'm better than everyone else. And it's not really just about the words, it's the actions that you're able to do, because you are the owner of this system that you are in power of and in charge of. And so anybody that's inside that system that's not white, they can't really wield their power over a white person who's the owner of the system. That's basically saying, like, you're a white person owns a car, and a black person might say, hey, you're like, if the black person and the Indian person in the car with that white person who's driving and owns that car, and then black person or white or Indian person says, hey, you're like a bad driver, he can't turn around and be like, hey, that's racist. It's like, it's really just an observation, because you're the owner of the car and you're the one driving the car. So we don't have any power to change how you move the car, where you're turning, how you drive the car. All we can do is give our opinion and our observations. And of course, we can get out of the car and go buy our own car. So that's always an option. But as long as we're inside of your car, there's not much else we can do except talk and say stuff about your driving, like how we don't like how you're driving or where you're heading. We wanted to go to the mall and you're going over to TJ Maxx or something. So it's a system that we're already stuck in worldwide, like globally, which she mentioned that, of course, everybody knows that. Or she mentioned that in this video. So I already expected people to hate her, because I'm like, of course, most people are going to hate her, because most people are aligned with white supremacy, because it's what's in charge right now, is what's quote-unquote supposed to be winning, or what's in power right now. And if you're weak-minded, you're going to just jump on the bandwagon with whatever team is winning, and that's white supremacy at this time. So anybody that speaks up against it, even black people like Jim Clyburn, who's benefiting from white supremacy, to me, I would consider him a white supremacist as well, because he's benefiting from white supremacy. He's upholding the status quo. He has no real desire to dismantle it. So to me, he's a white supremacist too. He thinks white is supreme, and he's letting them stay in power, and he's doing what he can to keep them in power. And so even a black person that we might do a video with her that's not woke or conscious or pro-black, we'll probably say she's racist as well, because they're idiots, like a Candace Owens or even a Mark Lamont Hill. There's a lot of sellouts out there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this video. I thought it was really interesting, and I just wanted to speak on it really quickly. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You guys hit that subscribe button so that my channel can grow and my message can get out there to people who probably need to hear what I have to say. And thanks for watching. Until I see you guys again, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace, love, and light. I am gone. Bye.